Hey
Hey,
guys.
well, okay, we just collided head first into each other. I was just waiting to think of what way to start this one, but thank you, Anthony, for taking the
Okay.
lead. Um, so yeah, I don't know how to feel about this episode. We today, everybody, we are doing another episode of Star Trek Thursday. I am Matt, as you can tell, colliding into me again head first.
Is Anthony.
So, Anthony, we're talking about Star Trek TOS as we usually do. Sometimes I get John on to talk about TNG, but you and I talk
Mhm.
about TOS, and we're talking about The Enemy Within. So,
Yeah.
Anthony,
Yes, Matt.
what in the fuck? Uh
I can explain everything. No, I can't.
oh, well, okay, I'll say this much. It's not the first time that Star Trek is focused on the wrong plot in an episode. Um, but I feel like their B plot, not their, well, I mean, arguably their B plot was Sulu, which I think is also a much more interesting story. But
Mhm.
even putting Sulu aside for a second, there was like a unicorn dog, and we're just supposed to accept that and not think it's fucking adorable.
I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't be able to think it was adorable, even though it wasn't the main plot of anything.
But it
It,
should have been, is
it
what
should
I'm.
have been. It
That's
should have been.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, look, I get the idea that, oh, but it's the duality of man, but it's under a 1960s lens, so it's really fucking awful.
Hmm.
Oh man, like
Yeah.
as a concept, it actually sounds interesting, like the duality of man, and then when come together, we create man, flawed, kind of shitty. I'm like, oh, interesting, but like they went over the top, and then for
Hmm.
some reason we're like, ah, yes, the normal, and I'm like, no, no. I mean, arguably the evil side of Kirk is all of the excess, arguably, but I don't know. It's a cat. You know what it is too. It's not even that they did that scene with Yeoman. I can't believe her name is escaping me.
Janice Rand. Yeah.
Janice. Thank you. For some reason, Jasmine was in my head. I was like, no, it's not Jasmine. Yeah, Janice. Uh, with her, it's not even that they did that scene because obviously that scene was really fucked up and it was like, ooh. But at least you could argue, well, it is the evil side of Kirk. So
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
is he gonna do? Bake cookies? Like, no, he's gonna do some fucked up things. But it's the way they handled her afterwards, where I'm like,
That's the
oh,
problematic thing.
yeah, I'm like,
That's the
hold
thing.
on there, partner.
That's the thing that's the most controversial, I would argue, out of anything in the original series. There's other stuff, but this one is, and I was kind of I didn't know how to handle that or how to go about that, but except to point out that there's it has problems, that there's a problem with it.
Yes, I don't think there's any. How else could you be like it's? And the reason why, if anyone's a little thrown off, or like, well, why is there a problem with it? Well, it's the fact that I don't know if at the end of the episode, even just jumping to the end, I don't know if they were trying to imply that she was like, oh, Captain. It's like you. I know it wasn't the captain who did that to you, but someone who looked like the captain just attempted to sexually assault you,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
wrote her and
That's
like
that's basically what happened in the episode. We're
yeah,
not, we're not making
it's
it up. We're not
well,
exaggerating. That is what happened.
if people are watching the, I'm hoping they've seen the episode. Anthony, this is a
Yeah.
review.
Well, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I'm just we're not making it up. It's in the episode, Anthony. Um, but no, but the thing is though is at the end I just didn't know what they were going for. Like I was really thrown off. Where it was just like even with Spock, I'm like, all right, maybe this only makes sense because Vulcans don't fucking get romance. Um,
yeah.
Like I was like, what is even happening here? This exchange between Janice and Spock, and then even before that, it was just I don't know, just her being like, oh, I didn't want to get you in trouble. Like I
Yeah.
was like, oh, you're not a child, Janice. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Yeah. No,
she's
exactly. That was the wrong thing, and on every,
yeah.
yeah. I don't know.
It's just no, no. Like I like there's always this. There is this underlying discussion that is obviously episode's not going to have because it's 1960s Star Trek of like, oh, in certain cases of certain situations, a woman might actually laugh it off or something like that or let it go rather than hold on to it due to the idea that she's in danger or something along those lines. But again, this episode is not smart enough to tackle any of that. It's just sitting there, like, having her kind of be like, out of nowhere, have the mental age, I would argue, of a child and be like, well, I didn't want you to get in trouble. And it's like, if she, at this point, she believes that it was the captain who sexually assaulted her. And it's just like, we said this early on when we started doing these reviews, Anthony. We talked about the fact that, a show like this is only as progressive as the time it was made.
Yeah.
And this is definitely one of those situations. But it's so odd that, again, throughout the series, earlier than this and even later than this, they do so many things that at the time were considered bold and progressive. And it's so interesting that this is like such a... I don't want to say it's a nosedive for the time, because at the time, I'm sure people watch this and were like, makes sense, checks out across the board. But now it's interesting looking back and going, ooh, fuck, no, fuck.
Yeah, no.
Well, no, it's crazy to think about that, like, within our lifetimes, we're in our 20s. Yeah, within our lifetimes, Star Trek will be 100 years old.
we are in our 20s. Yeah.
No, but I'm saying, though, like, it's closer to 100, I would argue, than it is to not, right?
Yeah.
This came out in the 60s. It's been 60 years. Yeah, it's closer to 100 than not. I'm sorry. I don't want to make anyone feel really old. But it's true, though. Like, it's closer to being not a relic necessarily, because obviously we're sitting here watching it and I enjoyed it as a kid and I enjoy it now. But again, some of the ideals, you really do have to sit there and go like, wow, like this really is from a 1960s lens. Mm-hmm. of what a very chill future would be like. They had brandy.
Yeah.
They fucking still have brandy. Which I would like to say that as someone who's done some episodes of TNG, Anthony, I thought they synthesized everything.
They synthesized everything in TNG. Not in the original series. So between the original series and TNG, that's when they started to synthesize everything.
So that 100-year gap, not 100, maybe like 70-year gap or something.
70-ish years, because they actually addressed that in an episode of TNG when Scott came on, and he was like in the bar. And he was like, what is this? What is this? Alcohol. and like Data, I think Data explains to him that it was synthesized. It's not actual alcohol, so that you could get the feeling of being drunk and you're not actually drunk and stuff like that. And he just looks at it and he's like, that's a shame.
So did he come on? So he came on again after the first episode?
It was Scott that came on.
Yeah, Dr. Scott. He was in the first episode of TNG. I didn't know he was in other ones.
Well, no, McCoy came on the first episode.
Oh, sorry, my brain's fried.
And then Dr. Scott. Oh my God.
That's why. That's why my brain fried, because of Rocky Horror.
The engineer Scotty.
yes, Scotty.
Came on another episode, and he's Captain Scott then.
Right. That's why. Yeah.
So he becomes a captain.
Yeah.
But yeah, he appears in a later episode of TNG. Yeah.
So I know that both of us aren't well versed in the drugs, but my question for you is, looking at William Shatner's performance, how much coke do you think?
Oh my God.
Like enough that it's like is it like, a meal for two?
What are you talking about? That's just how William Shatner is. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, no. His acting, yeah, that is kind of how he is, to be fair. But, no, I'm just, I don't know, man. Like, it was a lot. And again, I get it.
As well, yeah.
Well, no, because, like, I understand, like, oh, it's all of the excesses and all of the evils of man in this version of Kirk. But he also didn't have to be a gremlin. Like, it was a screaming gremlin.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting how he was just so
That's what the evils of men are.
screaming gremlins.
Yeah.
It's like that dog, unicorn.
Yeah.
That it's double. Its other side was in that was in
Yeah, and
the
it was growling and
yeah.
and acting unpleasant.
Yeah, they probably just showed it a mirror, and it was like, "What the fuck is that?" Like the actor, the actual dog, they probably just showed it a
Yeah.
mirror, and they were like, "What the fuck?" That's you, Skip. He's like, "Who in the fuck is that?" Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't want to shit on this episode for the entire runtime, but we could.
We could.
I mean, if you want to. So do you think this is the worst episode of this season so far? Because I'm gonna kind of go with a yes.
Yeah. I at least I can't remember anything that is worse than this. So yeah, I'm gonna say
So now, other than that scene with Janice, because of course, that's obviously where we get most of our ire for this one. Other than that,
Mhm.
is there anything else that really draws your attention to why this episode is not the best?
Um other than the fact that they really don't uh um do anything. It's mainly an on board like an on ship episode for
Right.
most of it. And I it's not that I don't like that, it's just that it's not as strong as the other ones.
Well, Charlie somehow, I think maybe it's because Kirk was in a mentorship role and he didn't do a mountain of coke. I think that one was pretty strong.
Yeah.
I think that no, honestly though, I mean I make these jokes, but I swear to God, Anthony, like I've said this before talking about TNG with John, the difference between Picard and Kirk is like it feels as if like Kirk, it's like you're in your 20s, you got coke, you got you have hookers,
The
like
coke is
that's
going to
like
come up the rest of the episode.
blackjack, right? That's like his 20s, right? And then, 30 years later, you become Picard, right? You have credit, you have a home.
You have credit.
Like it just
You have the complete works of Shakespeare on the shelf.
exactly like it really feels like a man at two different times of his life. And
So we're not going to go into what Captain Janeway of Voyager is.
uh I yes, I haven't seen Voyager, so I can't wait to get there.
Okay, so yeah,
her actress's portrayal of Janeway is the exact same character from Orange is the New Black. Is she in that?
yeah, she's in that. Yes.
Yes, it's the same character.
And if you,
I've seen
if,
neither.
If you, well, no, it's not the same character at all. But
Oh, I thought both. I thought one. I thought her character in Orange is the New Black is like super duper tough. So I was like,
she is, but she's not the same character.
no, I
They
know.
are incredibly tough, but they're very different.
Oh, okay. That was just.
She's also if you've played Dragon Age, she's also Flemeth.
Oh,
The actress.
I haven't, but all right.
Yeah.
Captain Kirk. If you don't know, William Shatner was in a bunch of Priceline commercials.
Yeah.
That's his highlight after. I feel like
Doing coke.
He's had to have been in some video games or something.
I have got to check that out. I don't know. I know that Leonard Nimoy was Master Xehanort in Kingdom Hearts.
Yes.
But I don't know about William Shatner. But there's probably something, and I'm overlooking it right now.
We've gone off topic within the first 15 minutes.
I mean, that's a new record. We usually go off topic in the first 5. So
new
that's...
record. So,
but it's okay though.
It's fine. Yeah, for me, I think that the problem
Not shitting on the episode.
Yeah. Well, no, we're gonna go right back into that. My problem is that it feels. Oh God, sorry, I forgot the dog died. That sucks. Anyway.
Yeah.
Wow. This whole episode's a downer now. Anyway, so back to what I was trying to say, Anthony. This episode thinks it's smarter than it is, I think. And I think that's the problem. Like, look, you're not going to bring up like studies and tests. I mean, it's trying to be philosophical and waxing and
Yeah.
stuff like that, but it's just done in a way that I think it's just out of its own, it's out of its own depth. And Star Trek doesn't isn't always out of its own depth. Sometimes it really does bring up some rather interesting discussions. And maybe this was a very interesting discussion in the 60s. So maybe we're the ones that quite literally are just out of time in this case because we're looking at this from a 2019 perspective.
Yeah.
Right?
That's probably it. I would say that was. I feel like they would have seen this episode back then, and they would be like, "That makes perfect sense."
Or not even. They would have looked at it as like ahead of its time. Perhaps.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not talking about people who are doctors and who are psychologists and psychiatrists. I'm referring to if you were watching this, you know, and you had no education in those backgrounds in the 1960s, and you were a father, mother, you were in your, let's say, 20s, 30s, perhaps even, you would have been born in the 1930s and the 1940s, and your kid would have been, let's say, maybe 5. And, you know, 5, 8, and your kid would have also thought, wow, this is deep. So I think that's also where we should be looking at it as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still going to continue shitting on it, but I do think that to a certain extent, it is us who is wrong.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. I mean, again, I'm still going to say what I have to say, but I do believe that, yeah, if we look at this from the perspective of if you were 50 years old watching this, thinking of it as like a deep study, right? In 1960s, you were born in the 1910s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where now we have Google in the palm of our hand. We have people, you know, we have, we don't, it's funny, we don't have better access to therapy, I would argue, but it is talked about more, right?
It is.
You know, putting healthcare aside, it is talked about more, and mental health is talked about more. So, you know, looking at this, you don't really have not Socrates. I can't think of what philosopher I'm thinking of. But I don't think it's Socrates. But you don't have to have this kind of like breakdown without actual facts in your corner anymore, really. You know? Yeah. But so I think maybe that's why. Like, I'm not saying that I know better because, like, again, like I'm not a doctor. I'm not a trained professional. You know, either as a doctor, as a psychiatrist, as a psychologist, and neither are you, Anthony. But that still doesn't mean that still doesn't mean that looking at this, we can't be like, this is silly.
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
I think I mean, this is kind of defending it a little bit, but I do think Spock did have a point with his relating Kirk's situation to himself, saying that, you know, I am half human and half Vulcan, and my two sides are constantly at war with each other. I think that made sense.
Yes.
But it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't forgive anything else. But
and that's well, the thing is that it's weird because, like, again, you don't have to. I don't know. Maybe you disagree with me in this. I don't think it's a problem that we had that scene with Janice and evil Kirk. It's all the follow up. I mean,
I agree with that.
Yeah, okay. Because I don't think that needs to be. I mean, again, some people are probably going to disagree with us, but for me, I didn't like the scene. I really felt uncomfortable.
The scene was very uncomfortable.
But that was the point of the scene. You know,
it was meant to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
What happened after that is just not okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? But we can't say it's 2019. We can't be like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Oh, 1966. Okay, checks out.
Yeah.
But yeah, also we did not have even though we did have we had Sulu kind of hanging around. And by the way, I love at the end.
On the planet, it's like, almost dying.
Oh, but I love at the end, by the way. It's like, oh, just minor frostbite. It's like, I know you guys have, like, cured everything, but, like, ow. It still hurts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Frostbite still hurts, I'd imagine. Also, I do think it is a little silly, adding on to this silliness, the fact that it's like, he can't, like, he can't make certain decisions with his other side split apart from him, but the decision was bring people back.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, do you argue that the bad side was the part that felt? Like, were they trying to go for that? Because that would be interesting, where, like, if he was, like, too calm and collected, I think they were
I
trying to go
think
for that a little bit, but I don't think they
I
really
think they
harped on it.
I think they were, but
But
I think they didn't really know what they were going for. But
exactly.
that's something that makes sense, that you need to have the bad side along with the good side in order to command. But yeah, as you said, I think they were going for that a little bit.
But I really, like, I don't think they, uh, like you just said, knew what they were doing, or at least knew what they were going for. And I think that's the
Yeah.
problem, is that they were, again, they were a little bit unequipped in dealing with something like this, because they were
Yeah.
trying to go for, oh, you need the good and the bad. Even if the
Yeah.
bad's really bad, you need the good and the bad, especially to be a great leader. That's what is needed. Good, bad, ugly, all together. And, all right, so then what is his decision right now? Is it to, like, sacrifice Sulu to, like, for the greater mission? No, it's to bring them back. Well,
Yeah.
that feels like that's something that even the calculating side would do.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, it. I don't.
But
Also,
there was also the risk that
of course, they would be
they,
split.
they would be split in the um I almost said teleprompter. What the hell? In the beaming up. I don't know why that word came to my head.
I would love. I'm pretty sure some people had teleprompters. I mean, they had cue cards. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Did
I don't know.
Shatner have cards back in the day? I feel like he may have at least once.
I have no idea. I
Okay,
don't know that.
I forgot if they've ever talked about him having like cards just kind of hanging around.
Not that I've ever heard, but it
Okay,
could be.
all
Yeah.
right, but
But I noticed that the writer of this episode
oh yes,
is Richard Matheson. Who he was a very prominent sci-fi writer at the time.
oh
He wrote a few episodes of The Twilight Zone. He wrote the episode of The Twilight Zone. I don't know if you know the Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, where the guy saw the
oh, so he's worked with Shatner before. Oh, so he's worked with
yes,
Shatner at his
he's
fucking craziest before.
yes.
Ha! Oh,
So
so he knew what to get out of him.
yeah, that basically. And yeah, and Shatner was in that episode. But he's a prominent sci-fi writer. He wrote the novel I Am Legend, which became the movie later.
Oh, huh.
So he is and wrote a whole bunch of short stories and novels and stuff like that. But yeah, very prominent sci-fi writer at the time.
So then
So
this
so
episode was a pretty big deal. And it also makes sense as to why it went out of its general comfort zone into something pretty stupid.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
that's also explained.
well, no, because again, like, I'm not saying I don't like them for trying. Like, I'm happy that they tried. It's just that I think that they partially dropped the ball. But, I mean, they tried, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was a
Yeah, that's
director for that Twilight Zone episode. Was he a writer for it as well?
He wrote it. Yes.
Oh, okay, but he did not direct it. Sorry.
No, I don't think he.
Oh.
Well, I'm not. I don't know that, but I know for a fact he wrote it.
Okay, sorry. So, because sometimes directors will write vice versa.
He could have also done that.
Yes. So anyway, yeah, that's so funny though that he's somewhat sort of worked with Shatner before, or at least written for him, even if he didn't realize he was, because obviously that Twilight Zone script, I'm sure it was written before Shatner was brought in.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Well, actually, the first episode Shatner was in for Twilight Zone, it was that one, right? It wasn't the one where he was in that small little town with the devil thing.
Yeah. No, I think. Yeah, that was after. Yeah.
Okay.
The one with the small town was after.
Okay, cool. I bring it up because, of course, do they know who's coming in? Usually, no. Especially, I'm pretty sure Shatner was smaller. Like his star was smaller at the time.
Yeah.
Anywho, so yeah, it's interesting though that they went because I don't know how the I Am Legend book was written. I don't know if it was also because I remember the movie with Will Smith,
Yeah,
but I'm assuming that there were differences. Um,
yeah, there definitely were.
yeah, I know that there was a movie with Vincent Price in the '60s. I thought,
Um,
but it wasn't
there
called I
could
Am
have been.
Legend. It was called something else.
Wait a minute. Oh, it was called the Omega Man.
Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah,
it wasn't.
it's essentially the same story, but there were differences.
Yeah. Okay then. So I want to say more, but I'm wondering what else we could say. Oh yeah, well I was trying to get at is they definitely left a decent amount of the crew out because I feel like Uhura would have just slapped. I feel like Uhura would have accidentally murdered
The
evil
evil
Kirk.
Kirk.
Like if he
Yeah,
tried that shit on her,
yeah.
I feel
That's
like she would have accidentally killed him. They'd be like, "Well, we have to put these two together." She's like, sucks."
yeah. That would not have gone over well. And I think, and I'm almost like happy that that didn't happen. Like that was the smart thing to do, not putting Ahura with, or maybe it would have been. Maybe it would have been interesting.
I don't know. All I know is it's just one of those things where it's just weird that we never saw her. Like I understand if we had like a small little Nichelle Nichols cameo and then moved on to something else, but it's funny how we never even got a shot of the deck.
Yeah, some episodes are weird because there are crew members that just don't appear in for that entire
And
episode.
I get it. You got to save money.
Yeah.
You know, it's about saving.
So she could be in her quarters or somewhere else, or
Yeah.
but still on the ship, but
No, it's
not
just
involved. But it's weird that she wouldn't be involved with the thing that's going on now, since she is a fourth in command officer.
but it just makes me laugh so hard that every single shot and like go back and look at them, Anthony, they don't even go to the left. Like you can safely assume Uhura's like, this is none of my damn business.
She's like
She's literally just sitting off to the side like
she's just looking away.
this does not concern me. I don't get paid enough for this.
Ahura looks away.
I'm I'm kind of being serious though. Like looking at every shot, they just don't pan to the left where Uhura would be sitting. Even when they're on the deck, they just don't go to the left. They're always like as if they're cognizant of the fact that like, yeah, she probably should be there, but let's not like show someone else there to confuse the audience. But
Yeah.
they're also not willing to pay anyone else other than the four people. Like I'm saying, I have a feeling that they probably filmed Takei in the middle of. He did that in the middle of filming another scene on another planet using the same set.
That very well could have been.
Like I bet you they were like, "All right, Shatner, go home. Takei, you stay right there. We're gonna film. You know,
All of your scenes freezing to death
yes,
while you're
adding on to what we just filmed with the entire group. All right, cool." And they filmed like something completely different. Yeah, this is another one of those episodes. It's interesting. So normally, and this isn't always the case, but normally, looking at the show, I feel like they actually upscaled and scanned the live action scenes really well to the point where I'm like, damn, like they look really good. But for some reason, maybe it's just me noticing it more this time. This time it looked really out of place, like some of the grain. I'm not saying you have to like make them all wax people, but it definitely looked kind of out of place compared to the amazing special effects that have been updated.
yeah.
It's always such an interesting juxtaposition. I've probably mentioned this before a little bit, but like it really felt out of place in this episode where like it goes from, looking at one of their faces and like seeing all the, the grain and the specks and everything around them and then going to like a full CG planet.
Yeah.
It's just odd.
Yeah, that's a lot of weird thing. That's one of the weird things that happened when something is updated, because that wouldn't be the case if we were watching a non-updated version of it.
VHS tapes.
Yeah, the VHS tapes where you'd see
Do you have any of those?
the Enterprise on a string.
Yeah. Which I'm fine with. Do you have any of those, by the way?
I think I have like not very many, if I do.
My dad had them. I'm not sure if we still have them over at the house in Long Island.
Yeah.
But what I'm wondering though is like, well, not wondering. For one thing I want to say before that is, I feel like, when it comes to updating effects, I think I've said this before on the show. I have no problem if they like erase the string. If they digitally erase the string, but I don't see why they need to make an entirely new model. Like no one's gonna be watching it going, "Oh, that great model," and then look at it. They're gonna see everybody else and go, "Oh, right, you all are from the '60s."
Yeah.
It's always like,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, so jumping back to the VHS tapes. Uh, you have a few. Do you have any TNG ones? Voyager.
No, I don't have TNG. I don't
Damn.
have
I know you
Voyager.
have,
No.
because you have a lot of Doctor Who ones,
Yeah.
which
No.
I'm
I
jealous.
I have a few Doctor Who ones that I found in my
Your
thrift
place of
shop.
work.
Yeah.
You own a
I
thrift shop.
yes. No.
He owns a
No.
thrift shop at 27. Everybody.
But I also have seen. I have seen the TNG. I've seen TNG and Star Wars. Oh my God, what the hell am I thinking?
Oh, speaking of Star Wars,
Oh no.
so because of, I don't know when this is coming out, this episode, but we're recording in advance. But because of Star Wars coming out,
Yeah, this is the
episode 9.
weekend it premieres while as we're recording.
Yeah, so because of that, I'm trying to watch the originals I'm trying to watch every Star Wars movie in order, minus the Christmas special. Wanted to put that out there in case anyone was like, "Is he going to?" No, I've already seen it. I don't need
Oh
to
no.
again. So I started watching episode 1, and I have an old VHS tape of it. So I don't have it on Blu-ray. I actually,
Are you watching it on the VHS tape?
I was, and I forgot how much, like, in this episode, evil Kirk and that Yoda puppet were like trading coke. Like, I don't know, like they were like, no, that Yoda, you have, Anthony, Google the Yoda puppet from episode 1, and he
Oh my
looks
God.
like he is on something, and
Oh
he
my
would like
God.
to sell you some. It, no, if you look it up right now, I swear to God, I'm not kidding. Because that's the only
Wait a
case
minute.
I've ever seen of going, you know what? Actually, the Blu-ray did some good special effects for that Yoda. Because just Yoda puppet episode 1, and it's like, oh, he looks nothing like episode 4 to 6 Yoda. Which at least 4 to 6 Yoda was old enough that I'm like, I get it, you're old as shit. But episode 1 Yoda just sitting around there with the council, I'm like, whoa, buddy. Are you doing okay, Yoda? Do we need to have an intervention?
Hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. I see him. I see him.
I don't. Yeah,
Wow. I didn't realize that there was that big of a
that's so funny.
difference.
Anthony's like, Matt's jokes have gone too far. Oh no, this is an apt description.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Because well, I hadn't seen the VHS version of the prequel trilogy, so I didn't know that actually.
Oh, you didn't see it in theaters when it came out?
No,
Oh, I did like
not episode
years.
one.
Oh, okay, because I saw
Not
episode
episode
1
one.
in theaters when it first came out, and I was extremely underwhelmed. I was 8, but I was also extremely underwhelmed. And then I didn't see it. I must have seen it again somehow on DVD, and I don't know if the DVD updated anything. So maybe there's DVDs out there of episode 1 that still have this puppet, but the Blu-ray completely changed up the CG and made him all CGI. And normally I'm like, hey, come on, Lucas. But this is actually a time where I'm like, nah, it's fair. I
Yeah.
get it. I'm like, you know what? No, I see where you're coming from, actually. Because normally it's bullshit. Like, they replace people with, like, 8-legged space. I'm like, what are you doing? But in this case, I'm like, nah, I hear you. Like, I'm not complaining. Yeah, so, I don't know what else to say about this episode. Anything else you want to say, good or bad?
Um. I had wished that they brought back the puppy unicorn
Yeah.
again in future episodes. I want to know more about that species.
Again, they focused on the wrong plot.
They could have had an episode all about the puppy unicorn.
That must have been a riot on set. Like, we have to hold this thing and act like it's normal, and then the dog is just like probably staring at its handler off screen. Like,
What
so
what did
yeah,
you bring me to?
yeah, no, like, fire my agent, Janet.
Yeah,
Fire my agent. Uh,
but
I
yeah.
am your agent, Janet. Fire yourself.
But yeah, I
But
really don't have much else to say other than it was not one of the best episodes, and it's okay, but it's not one of the best.
yeah, no, like it again. Like, I'm. Oh my god, they didn't have two dogs. One of them was a puppet. That's fucking hilarious.
Okay, that's great.
No, sorry, I'm just noticing this because it's a lot closer now, so I'm a lot closer to it. Or maybe I was getting water at the time. One of I instead of having two dogs with the same thing, they just made like a plushie of one of the dogs, and then the other dog is like, "Oh, toy," and it's like sniffing the plushie.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, oh god, that dog is a fucking adorable. Anyway, um, back to the episode. Um, yeah, I don't have much to say about this one either. Anything else, anyway? Other than, I'm happy it tried. I just think that
Yeah.
it it failed. And
Yeah.
also, maybe, and this is on me, definitely. I was initially under the impression that it's like, oh, there's like a good Kirk and an evil Kirk. So, like, yo, let's just kill the evil Kirk. But, their way of trying to be like, whoa, we can't kill is like, well, it is two halves of the same man. How could we kill one half of the same man? I'm like, okay, that's okay. You don't have to say it like that, everybody. But
Yeah.
but yeah, no, like I get, I don't know, just like it seems like it created an unnecessary problem with a
Yeah.
very necessary shooty solution.
Yeah.
And
Which in an episode of Voyager, they do something not like this. It's very different, but in the same realm of this with the same idea,
yeah.
but it's so much worse.
Oh,
But
okay. I thought
I'm
it'd be
not gonna
better.
but I'm not gonna go into that.
Oh, okay. I thought it'd be better because it was
No,
Voyager. Oh.
no,
No, what's funny
no.
is for a second there, I thought you were going to go from like, so they did something. Well, it wasn't like this. Actually, it wasn't about this at all. It involved Quark. You know what? Never mind.
Yeah,
I
no.
think it was just, it was nothing like this. Like, I don't know why I just imagined like you being like, never mind.
No, it was something in the realm
Tonally.
of this,
Oh,
but
okay, yeah.
yeah.
Either way, though, I can't wait to do the next one because it isn't this one.
Yes,
The
me
next
too.
one, it says Mudd's Women. I'm reading this off of Netflix. Mudd's
Oh,
Women.
oh
Kirk and
God.
the crew rescue Harry Mudd and three
Oh.
mail order brides. You know what? Hold on the fuck second, Anthony. I think I was wrong.
It's that one. Yeah, they put
Okay,
the,
wait.
the next one is not gonna.
Wait, hold on. Episode 8 is What Are Little Girls Made Of? I don't want to know. The Enterprise's search for famous scientist Roger, but I love how Roger doesn't have a last name, leads Kirk to a deserted planet where Roger, who lives with two lifelike androids, turns on Kirk. Yo, what happened to women? And like starting at episode 6, what happened to women in this series? Jesus H. Christ. The Enterprise arrives at a planet where a virus puts humans, see, not just women, Anthony, in a chronic childlike state. When Kirk and his team become victims, only Bones can help.
Yeah.
I want Only Bones to be the name of a Bones spinoff. Just who can solve the problem of the Only Bones?
Yeah.
All right, so there was like a 3-week span. I don't know.
So
like,
the next episode is
the next 2 seemingly, but I don't know much about 8. But yeah, the next one's gonna be fucked.
the next one is also probably one of my least favorites. These 2 episodes are my least favorite, but it's a good thing that we're getting them out of the way so that we can. The one after that was not as bad as these 2.
It is interesting, though, to see how, again, in many ways, this series, especially when it comes to... What was that?
Oh, no, because I was just going to say I don't like Harry Mudd.
That's fair. I don't think Harry. I don't think Harry's parents liked him very much. Like like he has a last name of Mudd, and it's like, well, what do we give him? Like Bartholomew, like something like big and grand. Nah, Harry Mudd. Anyway, so it's just very interesting to look at a series like this where, it shows you the duality of man. No, but like a series like this where when it comes to race, especially as series went on, it really did some things. I mean, we've talked about this before, right? The kiss between Kirk and Uhura is something that was banned in certain states. Like certain networks did not carry it. It is insane that something like that could happen in the same series that something like this happens.
That this was fine.
Yes. Again, the reaction to what happened. Because again, bad things can happen. Bad people can do bad things. But it's the reaction afterwards that I'm like, whoa. It's very much like something that happened with Yar. No, not Yar. Let me see. I'm talking about TNG here. Yeah, no, yeah, okay, Tasha Yar. Yeah. Tasha so Yar, with Yar, with something that happened with her and Data, and I was like, whoa, this is the 80s. What the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
I'm like, I think I remember that. That episode, isn't that long ago, guys. I mean, it is, but compared to TOS, it isn't. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on here, everybody? But yeah, so it's something like that where, TNG seems like the beacon of hope for the future, and then something like that happens, and I'm like, oh, no. Yeah. No. Anywho, we're going to wrap this one up. Thank you all so much for listening in, as always, especially while we're now on Podbean.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I don't know what order stuff is going to come out in, so is this going to be the first new episode of something on Podbean? Probably not. But I've recorded some stuff with Tristan for Podbean as well, so maybe that'll come out first. I don't know, Anthony. But what I do know is I am thankful for all of you listening in. And next time you tune into another Star Trek Thursday, due to Anthony's hectic schedule, I probably won't be doing something with him. So, Anthony, you might be off the hook for a bit. We might not need to jump into the next one so soon. But
okay, I mean, yeah, I'll do stuff.
I'll live.
I'll be here and do stuff in the future. And
well, I mean, dude, you have work, you have school. Like that's what I'm saying. Like your schedule is very hectic.
Yeah, so, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
school is out though until January, but
we're gonna get a lot done. Wait, when in January?
At it's late January, the right? Last week, the week before last week.
Okay, I think. So it's normal. Sorry, everybody. Yeah. This man over here is getting what I can't think of the name of the degree. Is it a master's?
It's a master's degree in English teaching.
Yeah, this guy over here, Mr. I like learning. No, but dude, it's amazing. But like because of that, because you're getting a master's degree in English, you can't. I think legally they don't allow you to say any other words outside of class, right?
Oh my god!
Because like you haven't been with a podcast, I'm assuming they just don't let you speak. They're like only words for these master's classes, and you're like, all right.
Speaking is forbidden everywhere.
Yeah, undergrad. That's what I was thinking of. I was like, because I was thinking of a specific term.
Yeah.
Or a graduate's degree, or it was I was like, it's not just master's. It's a different term I'm thinking of. Yeah. So you're being really cool over there, but also deathly busy. So that's why I'm like, maybe we get you on.
I like the way you describe that, deathly busy.
Because you are.
Yeah.
Like I talk to you, and it feels like I'm writing a letter to you during wartime. My dearest Anthony, it has been 3 months since we've last spoken.
This one was rough. This semester was rough.
Yeah, it was, and you had a job on top of that, so it's kind of like, ooh.
So I'm grateful when I can watch Star Trek and talk to you and
then it's this.
Yeah, and then it's this episode, and then it's flipping Harry Mudd.
Oh my god!
But then it's okay. We're getting 2019 is going away, and we're We're gonna deal with better stuff in 2020,
But
probably.
no, you don't understand. This is 2020. This is
Oh,
coming out probably in 2020.
oh, okay. Well, hello everyone. This is our past. This is the dark past.
Hold on, I think this is an episode of Star Trek. We're in the future and the past simultaneously.
Yep.
All right, so thank you all so much. As always, we're officially ending this right now. Love you all. Take care.
Yeah.
Tune in next time. See ya.
Bye, guys.